New Orleans, a city of celebration, culture, and endless energy. But on the night of February 4th, 2023, as Super Bowl fever swept the streets, something far more sinister was unfolding behind closed doors. Adan Manzano, a rising star in sports journalism, had traveled from Kansas City to cover the biggest event of the year. Charismatic, ambitious, and deeply passionate about his work, he was beloved by fans and colleagues alike. But just hours after the Super Bowl, Adan was found dead in his hotel room at the Ritz-Carlton. The shocking news sent waves through the sports world and beyond. What had happened in that room? How had a week of excitement and opportunity turned into a crime scene? As investigators began piecing together the timeline, one name kept surfacing: Danette Colbert, a 48-year-old woman from Slidell, Louisiana. She and Adan had met just days before, sharing drinks, laughter, and an undeniable connection. But something had gone terribly wrong. What started as a fleeting romance turned into a deadly encounter, leading to Danette's arrest and a charge of second-degree murder. The media frenzy erupted. Some painted Danette as a femme fatale, a woman whose passion spiraled into violence. Others questioned if there was more to the story, something hidden beneath the sensational headlines. In the courtroom, the world would watch as the truth unraveled. Was this a crime of passion, self-defense, or something even darker? One thing was certain: Adan Manzano's promising future had been cut short, and the search for justice had only just begun. The vibrant energy of New Orleans was palpable in the air as Super Bowl week descended upon the city. The streets became a kaleidoscope of colors, filled with fans adorned in their team jerseys, culinary aromas wafting from nearby restaurants, and the rhythmic beats of jazz permeating the nightlife. Among the excitement stood Adan Manzano, a young and ambitious sports reporter for Telemundo, who had traveled from Kansas City to cover the monumental event. Adan was filled with enthusiasm, eager to immerse himself in the festivities and capture every exhilarating moment for his audience. The atmosphere was electric, but beneath the jubilant vibe, shadows lurked, quietly waiting to unfold their sinister tale. Adan had spent months preparing for this moment, interviewing athletes, hosting segments on local sports shows, and connecting with fans across social media. To his viewers, he was a beloved figure, known for his charismatic style and genuine passion for sports. But as the sun set on the night of February 4th, 2023, the narrative of Adan's life took an irrevocable turn. Danette Colbert, a woman who had crossed paths with Adan during his time in New Orleans, quickly emerged from the shadows. At 48 years old, she had her own complexities and history, a maze of experiences that had led her to this fateful encounter. A local resident of Slidell, Danette was seen as a vivacious persona, often blending into the background of life, balancing the mundane responsibilities of adult life with the occasional burst of adventure. Although she had her share of struggles, her recent decision to engage with Adan promised a spark of excitement that her life desperately needed. The two had met at a lively bar in the French Quarter, their paths crossing amid laughter and camaraderie as they chatted about sports, their mutual interests generating an instant connection. Danette found Adan captivating. He exuded charisma while sharing stories of his experiences in journalism. Adan, in turn, was charmed by her wit and the ease with which she navigated conversation. They swiftly exchanged numbers, and the flirtation that followed felt like destiny. As the Super Bowl approached, Adan found himself drawn into the whirlwind of energy surrounding the event. He and Danette spent time together throughout the week, exploring the vibrant city and forging a bond that would quickly morph from a chance encounter into something darker. For both of them, it offered a respite, a feeling of connection in a city teetering on the brink of an exhilarating distraction. But as the celebrations reached a crescendo, the reality of their choices collided with an unexpected confrontation. On February 5th, the day after Super Bowl 57, Adan was found dead in a hotel room, his life extinguished, leaving behind questions shrouded in mystery. Local authorities received reports of an unresponsive man at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in New Orleans. When they arrived on the scene, they discovered Adan's lifeless body, and in that moment, the festive atmosphere transformed into a chilling backdrop for tragedy. Grief enveloped the community, and the news of Adan's death rippled across social media. Friends, colleagues, and viewers were left stunned, mourning the loss of a talented and vibrant soul. Investigators quickly mobilized to piece together the details surrounding his death, delving into the hours leading up to that fateful moment. Danette's name surfaced almost immediately. Witnesses placed her with Adan during the last night of his life, raising a multitude of questions surrounding their relationship. As investigators began to investigate deeper, the narrative unveiled dark undertones. Danette, once a figure of intrigue, metamorphosed into a person of interest, a woman who became intertwined with Adan's final moments. Confusion reigned as the investigation unfolded. Danette was swiftly taken into custody, her world spiraling into chaos. As news of the allegations against her spread, the whispers grew louder. An air of sensationalism enveloped the case, captivating local and national media outlets eager to explore the woman behind the headlines. The initial police statement suggested that Adan's death was a homicide. Details began emerging. Danette was being charged with second-degree murder, accused of taking Adan's life in a volatile moment. The narrative painted a picture filled with passionate chaos, evoking images of a tumultuous night that led to irreversible consequences. Danette sat in a cold interrogation room, spiraling through the events of that evening in her mind. Memories flickered, flashes of laughter merging with moments of uncertainty. She recalled Adan's charm as he shared anecdotes in a low, inviting voice, the way his eyes sparkled under the dim light, shadows dancing across his features as they shared ideas fueled by passion. Yet within moments, the atmosphere shifted, and during the exchange, conversations turned heated, the undertones of tension lurking beneath the surface. As the police probed deeper, seeking clarity amidst the chaos, Danette tried to piece together her fragmented recollections. She wished she could remember more. The interactions between them, the laughter contrasted with the rising tension. They had returned to the hotel room after an evening out to unwind from the excitement of the day. But conversations quickly turned sour, ignited by unspoken insecurities and rage that crept into their words. Adan sought to distance himself from the discomfort, questioning some of Danette's choices and dismissing the emotional weight that clung to their encounter. Accusations flew between drinks, each taking their toll until they reached a breaking point. In that razor-thin moment, something cataclysmic happened. Shouts echoed through the room, and everything blurred into a haze of emotion. "I never meant for this to happen," Danette murmured to herself, drowning in regret. Echoes of Adan's laughter haunted her, twisted into a memory that would never fade. But with clarity came the stinging clarion call of reality. Officers moved through her memories like a film reel, dissecting the narrative, searching for threads they could weave into the truth. As the media frenzy escalated, public opinion began to take shape. Articles began circulating, portraying Danette as a femme fatale, a woman who had taken a young man's life in a moment of passion gone awry. Headlines blazed with details from the investigation, eager to dissect the societal implications, the underlying emotional triggers, a spotlight on a case that was steeped in tragedy. Danette knew she had a choice to make. She could let the world dictate her narrative or fight to reclaim her story. She sought the counsel of an attorney, her representative in the unraveling chaos. He assured her that there would be a trial, a chance to present her side of the story to the jury. "We'll show them you're not what they think," he said firmly, hoping to instill a sense of courage she now doubted she possessed. As the trial date loomed closer, Danette found herself lost in reflection, retracing her emotions and confronting what had happened that night. Conversations morphed into arguments, misunderstandings leading to despair, and moments that had once felt spontaneous became a chain reaction that spiraled out of control. She recalled the last moments they shared in that hotel room. In the frenzy, emotions were raw, and while she had never intended for things to escalate, there was no undoing the damage. Adan's family endured their own grief, struggling to comprehend the loss of their beloved son. He had been a shining star in their lives, a dedicated journalist with dreams and aspirations. They advocated for justice, determined to find clarity and accountability amid the chaos. As both families faced their separate battles, the courtroom became a stage where sorrow and conflict intertwined. The trial began amid a swirl of emotions. Every witness, every piece of evidence brought with it a cascade of memories and unreconciled feelings. Danette sat silently as testimonies unfolded, recounting the events that led to Adan's death. The prosecutor painted a damning image of Danette, a woman overwhelmed by passion, driven to a point of no return. Yet her defense attorney pushed back, imploring the jury to consider the complexities of human emotions, the fragile threads woven through life. He asked them to look beyond the sensational headlines and focus on the nuanced realities. Under the glaring courtroom lights, Danette took the stand, clutching her hands tightly together as she prepared to recount that fateful night. As she spoke, vulnerability seeped into her voice. She recounted their time together, the laughter, gratitude, and connection they shared, punctuated by a pivotal moment of disconnection that spiraled into violence. "I never wanted it to end like this," she lamented, tears streaming down her face as the gravity of the situation enveloped her. This was not a tale of betrayal. It was tragedy and misunderstanding, a tapestry where both happiness and heartache intertwined in ways they could never have imagined. The jury absorbed her words, each testimony punctuated with raw emotion. Stories of ambition, a young man whose promise had been tragically extinguished, mingled with the complexities of a woman caught up in a moment's decision. Days turned into an exhausting testimony. Both families endured the loop of grief as they navigated the trial's emotional waters. Danette's defense attorney leaned into the complexities of a human psyche during testing times, exploring how anger can distort the lens through which we perceive reality. He argued that no one action could define a person's whole life, that mistakes can lead to irreversible consequences, overshadowed by moments of darkness. After weeks of trial, the jury wrestled with their decision. They were confronted with the tension between emotion and reason, struggling to decipher the layers of the narrative. Could they truly understand the motivations behind what had happened that night? Danette sat with bated breath on the edge of her seat, the weight of uncertainty feeling heavier than it had ever been. Minutes felt like hours as they deliberated. Finally, the jury emerged, and the foreman's voice echoed through the courtroom. "We find the defendant..." The words seemed to stretch out indefinitely, the atmosphere crackling with tension. When the verdict was read, Danette's heart soared with relief. It was a verdict of guilty, but not the harshest punishment. The jury had rendered their decision on a lesser charge, recognizing the complex nuances of the events, a deep understanding of humanity, frailty, and pain. As the gavel struck and the judge pronounced the final judgment, Danette felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Though her life had been shattered, she had the opportunity to rebuild. The trial wasn't the conclusion she had imagined, but it served as a transformative moment, illuminating that even in the darkest of circumstances, there remained the possibility of redemption. Days later, as Danette began her new journey, the lessons learned through sorrow resonated in her heart. Through pain and loss emerged strength, a reminder that even amid chaos, life held the potential for renewal. She decided to advocate for awareness about mental health, using her experience as a visceral plea for understanding and empathy. As she stepped into the sunlight, her heart felt cautiously optimistic, entwining fragments of hope amid the complexities of her past. Through the pain, she understood the depths of human frailty and resilience, recognizing a new purpose within her narrative. With time, the shadows of that night would fade, and, in their place, a commitment to healing began to take root, a promise to ensure that tragedies never overshadow the beauty of life.